What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Snowbike Mike, and today I'm joined by my guy, Mr. Parris Lilly, rocking his Buccaneers red jersey today. A little NFL draft this weekend going on. Parris, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. And you know why I'm fantastic. I'm a man of my word.
Lay it on me.
This is the case.
Yep.
It's a Steam Deck, baby. I got it. And because this is an Xbox show, and I know people listening can't see this even on the camera, you're looking at Game Pass on the Steam Deck. And I'll talk about this more in the show, like all my experience with it. But I'm hyped, man. It's everything I thought it was going to be and more. So I'm happy. I'm very happy this week.
Parris, that is some great words right there. I'm so excited to dive in deep with you, ask you some questions, hear about your impressions, but we're happy you finally got the Steam Deck. I know how important it is to you. So you know what? We'll check off that box and we'll continue moving forward, but you'll hear all about that in just a little bit. Today, you'll notice one of my gaming dads is absent from the show. Mr. Gary Whitta is doing big Gary Whitta things. And so we got to let him go to work and finish all that up. You'll see him next week, but we have a very special guest joining us on the KindaFunny Xcast this week to talk all things Xbox. You've probably seen him with all of his insights and analysis of the gaming world over on Twitter. And you might even be checking out his new live chats over on YouTube. Today's very special guest, industry analyst Benji Sales, joining us. Benji, what's going on, my man? How are you?
What is up? I am so pumped to be on today. I'm a big fan of you guys, the whole KindaFunny crew. It's amazing to be on. So thank you so much for having me on today. And we got a lot of great stuff to talk about today.
Going to be a really fun episode with you joining us. And actually, the perfect episode for you to join us because you're going to be able to break down some numbers that maybe me and the public can't quite understand or need a little help with. So it's going to be really cool. Benji, why don't we get to know you just a little bit for a quick one right now? If the best friends out there in our community don't know you or haven't seen you on Twitter, what are you kind of known for in the gaming industry?
Yeah, so I talk about the video game industry kind of in general, but obviously like my focus, my specialty, it's more on like the sales side, the business side, data, social media metrics. That's kind of like the niche I've carved out for myself. That's really the primary focus. You know, I talk about anything in video games because I'm a big gamer myself as well, but that is definitely what my focus is on: sales, business, data. And yeah, I do it over on Twitter and YouTube.
Awesome. Well, to keep it fun, I have 3 easy questions for you, Benji, as well for the get to know you segment. So first off, what you been playing lately?
Ooh, so I'm getting ready for Halo Infinite Season 2. Ready to finally get that going. I've been waiting for this, so that's what I'm really ramped up for right now. I'm playing Final Fantasy Origin Stranger of Paradise. It's okay.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos. It's a little interesting. Just finished up playing Elden Ring. Got the Platinum Trophy on that. I played that on PlayStation. And that's what I'm playing right now, yeah.
Wow, he got the platinum Parris Lilly. Did you hear that? I got to
I
look
heard
to
him.
you because you know I got to look at you. How's that adventure going? I know you're not going to share until you're really ready, but like,
well,
you
I
still
will
going
fully
out there?
admit, I have not touched Elden Ring at all this week because this is all about the Steam Deck, even though I can play it on the Steam Deck. I've just not installed it on there
Ooh,
yet.
yeah.
Okay. I like that, Parris. Okay, Benji, keeping with you. Of course, it's an Xbox show. We bleed green. We love talking about Xbox. What's your favorite Xbox game?
So I'm a huge fan of Xbox in general. This is a bit of a hard one for me. Like, I love Gears of War, I love Forza Horizon, but to me, like, there's one franchise that has just always stuck with me, and maybe this is the generic one. It's Halo. I love Halo. Whether it was System Link, you know, Halo 2 parties with my friends way back in the day, whether it was playing through campaign, those stories, I love Halo's campaigns, or even online. Like, Halo to me, it has just been, I mean, really all the way back since I was really young, right? Halo 1 and 2 came out when I was really young, and I still play it a ton to this day. So Halo is definitely like my main Xbox franchise. I love the other ones as well, a lot of them. But if I had to pick one, you can only play one Xbox franchise moving forward. I think I'd have to go with Halo.
It's a strong choice right there. Okay, our final one in Paris. I'm going to get you involved on this one as well. So be ready. We're going around the table. Benji, what is your most anticipated game for 2022 and maybe even beyond? Because we got a lot of news to talk about, maybe for a big summer event coming up. People are excited about games coming soon. Let's talk about what you're anticipated for.
Okay, so I would say for this year, out of what's officially announced, man, that is tough. Maybe Starfield. We have seen so little on it, but I am a massive Bethesda Game Studios fan. Whether it's Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls games, I love those big Bethesda RPGs, and seeing them do a brand new IP. It's been so long since we've seen a brand new RPG IP out of them. So Starfield has definitely got to be up there. To name one that's further off, and this one probably doesn't show up on a ton of people's list, but Alan Wake 2. I'm a massive Alan Wake fan. I've been dreaming of a sequel for that game since literally the day I beat it. And I didn't think it was going to happen. I'll be honest. There was many years where I was like, we're just never going to get that Alan Wake 2, are we? So that announcement for me, it got me maximum hyped. So I'd say this year, probably Starfield, further out, Alan Wake 2.
Good selection right there. I like the Alan Wake call out. Paris Lily, I turn to you. I know we've been beating the drum about Starfield a lot here. What are you excited for?
It's Starfield. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for the potential of what it could be because like Benji is saying, we know so little about it. Obviously, we've had the video series that Bethesda's been putting out.
Oh.
They just did the one this week, going over the soundtrack and the audio, which phenomenal. But
Good.
I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready for Todd Howard to give me the tour through the galaxy, through the universe, through the cosmos of what Starfield is going to be. I want to know what this game's going to be. So as far as most anticipated, it's absolutely Starfield. And I think they've done a great job so far with the marketing, because by not giving us everything, I think that just makes people even more excited to see it when they finally do announce it, which we would assume at this point is going to be at the Xbox showcase, which I know we'll talk about later. But that without a doubt, it's Starfield, and I'm really looking forward to it. The fact that this is their first new IP that Todd Howard and his team has done, and I think he said 25 years or something crazy like that.
Crazy.
I'm excited to see it, and we don't have much longer to wait, I would assume.
Okay, I like that. And yeah, I'm going to ask you some questions about that virtual tour with Todd Howard, Paris Lewis. So get ready for that when we talk about E3 and all of that. I guess not E3 now, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be a little fun with it because I was going to say Starfield as well. I've been saying it all year long. I'm very excited. But I'm going to give you something different that I'm really amped up for. And that's Mario Strikers Battle League. I cannot
Ooh.
wait to turn on the Switch and play Mario Strikers again. This is an old school favorite that I love way back in the GameCube and Switch days. That is just fun, good times with your friends. I miss, me and Paris have talked about it, right? That couch competitive co-op that we miss so much, of yelling at your friends, from NBA Street to, of course, NFL Street and beyond, all of those games that brought you together. And, Mario Strikers is that game for me and my friends. I cannot wait to play this. Of course, it is on that Nintendo online service, so I don't know how well it will do with everybody not being in the same room, but I know I'm going to get a lot of joy out of this one. So I cannot wait for this to come out this summer. But guys, enough about all that. Let's jump into the Xbox news. But first, I got to tell you that this is the Kinda Funny Xcast. We post each and every Saturday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and of course on your favorite podcast service around the globe. Don't forget, we are now Epic Games partners, which means you can use our Epic Creator Code anytime when you're buying V-Bucks, upgrading your look in Rocket League, or buying games off the Epic Games Store. So please remember to use Kinda Funny at checkout to help support the team. And talking about support, we want to give a big shout out to our Patreon producers for the month of April: Gordon McGuire, Fargo Brady, Pranksky, Dan Golden Spider B, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, First Responder ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, and Casey Andrews. Thank you all so much for your support. And don't forget that this week, the Kinda Funny Xcast is sponsored by Razer, Lumen, and Brother Printers. But me and the team will tell you all about that in just a little bit. Guys, let's jump in to the big news of the week. And all eyes are on June 12th. We got a big blog post coming from Xbox over on the Xbox Wire by our good friend Will Tuttle. He writes, "Today, we are excited to announce that the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase will stream on Sunday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This show will feature amazing titles coming from Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and our partners around the world. The Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase will include everything you need to know about the diverse lineup of games coming soon to the Xbox ecosystem, including upcoming releases to Xbox Game Pass on Xbox and PC. Of course, you can tune into the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase on a number of different streaming platforms, over 30 languages. You can go find all that out over on the Xbox blog. But guys, this is the news we've been waiting for. Everybody has turned an eye to the summer for all of the years, thanks to E3 and, of course, Jeff Keighley's summer kickoff. Now we know E3 is gone, but Xbox holds strong to that June date right there. Benji, I'll kick it to you first. What's the excitement level heading into summertime, knowing that we will get year 2 of the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase?
I mean, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. I am incredibly excited for this. I've always loved E3 season, and I know it's not technically E3 anymore, but it's still that big summer showcase, getting to see all the latest games and everything. And I think this one in particular, it's easy to say this every year, but I feel like this is going to be a really strong show out of Xbox and Bethesda, because they have so many studios that seem like they should be lined up, ready to really show us some stuff, including games, not necessarily just all things we've never heard of, but even things that have already been announced, like we've mentioned Starfield, Forza Motorsport. I really think this is going to be a really strong showing from them. There's so many studios that we either don't know what they're working on yet, or we've heard, but we've hardly seen anything. So I would say I am legitimately 10 out of 10 hyped for this one. And I think there's a chance this could be Xbox's strongest showcase that they've had yet. I think there is honestly a good chance of that.
Benji, I love that. Personally, I come out with a little apprehension, though. I look at my notes. I'm going through my notes. I only see Starfield and Redfall right now for this year, and I'm looking off into the ethos going, well, they say a diverse lineup. Benji over here saying 23 studios. It's time to line up. You and I and Gary, we've talked about it. It is time to line up over on the Xbox side. Do you believe that this is a year they really show a big, diverse, star-studded lineup?
Well, it's interesting because, you and I were talking offline right before we started. And, I was bringing up the point that, the show's probably going to wind up being like 90 minutes like it always is. It's not enough time because they have so many things that they could potentially talk about, just like Benji alluded to, that we either don't know what they're working on. We've not seen show Banjo. Come on, don't do that.
I gotta do it, Parris. I gotta do it.
But they have so many things that we either don't know what they're working on, or we've seen so little of it that I don't care what they show. It doesn't matter what they show in those 90 minutes. I'm telling you right now, we're going to walk away thinking, man, was that it? Why did they talk about this? Why did they talk about that? Because that's just how many projects Xbox Game Studios has going on. Not even to mention the partnerships they potentially have. What's the one game from Avalanche? Was it Contraband? Yeah, Contraband as an example, right? There's going to be even more of those. So I say all that to say that those are going to be 90 exciting minutes of announcements that's going to come out of the showcase for Xbox and Bethesda. Like you said, we know about Starfield, which in my opinion probably closes the show. I would think you hold that as the main event. Redfall, obviously they're going to show because we know about that. I would imagine turn 10's there with Forza Motorsport. That would be my guess at this point. The rest of it, who knows? Literally, who knows? You got Hellblade 2, you got Fable, you got Avowed, you got the Outer Worlds 2. Hell, Perfect Dark. I mean, there's so many other things. I mean, we know the Coalition is going to have Gear 6, but they've already said they're going to do something before Gear 6. Do we see that to showcase Unreal Engine 5? I mean, there's so many different things. Obviously, we know more content's going to come from 343 with Halo Infinite as an example. Obviously, the rumors with Certain Infinity, stuff like that. That's just things I'm thinking of off the top of my head. We know Compulsion Games is working on something. We know In Exile is working on something. We know State of Decay 3 is out there. I mean, it's like the list goes on and on of things that they could show or could potentially talk about at this showcase. So I am with you, Benji. I do think this has the potential to be the best showcase they've ever done. And I don't even say that lightly. This could literally be the best one they've ever done because this has the potential of setting up their roadmap for the next 5 years of games that we could see. I don't know if they want to go that far out in time and show that. Maybe they keep it more closer to the vest, which is why I say again, 90 minutes is simply not enough. No matter what they show, it is not enough for all the announcements. But I fully expect Starfield to be the star of this show. No pun intended, but because we know so little about it. We know what the potential of what I keep saying potential a lot because we don't know anything. So everything's potential. But Todd Howard and those guys, I'm excited to see it. And I really do hope we get to see Forza Motorsport here because I mean, this is going to be the first next gen Forza, and look how good Horizon 5 was coming from Playground. So let's see what Turn 10 could do with that. And I know I'm talking a lot and I apologize, which makes me think this is probably the first next gen, and in its current gen, I get it, but you get my point. This is the only next gen Series X/X games are probably at this, right? I mean, I'm sure there'll still be some outliers that'll be on Xbox One, but the main event games, this is where we make that transition into only being on Series X and Series S. So I'm excited about that too, to see what the potential of, God, I'm saying potential a lot. I'm sorry, but to see what this hardware can do with games that are optimized only for that hardware. That's probably the most exciting thing that I think can come out of this for me. So should be good. June 12th. I will definitely be tuned in and watching.
Oh man, you got to love it, Parris. You can feel the energy with you, me, and Benji of like.
Did I say 10th? I meant 12th.
Right? No, you said 12th. You're good.
Okay.
It will be really exciting, right? For Xbox fans, we've come to know summer as the time where we get the big E3 showcase, we get the big Xbox blowout, and having Bethesda in the back pocket, it is really cool, right? And you do look at the 23 studios, the diverse lineup that they could bring to you, right? And you think of, well, what's Machine Games doing over there with where's Wolfenstein 3? Because I miss you. Barrett was even ready with the video because he knows I'm looking for Wolfenstein. But at the same time, are we going to see Indiana Jones? Will we get a title splash for that? Do we get CGI treatment, right? Like, what is going on with a lot of these Bethesda teams as well as you take a look over at ZeniMax and that rumored new MMO and what that could be? Of course, we're going to get the easy content of, Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, right? You know that we're going to get those easy packages that say, hey, there's more content coming to these games. But the question marks are, what's more exciting to me? Compulsion. What are you making, right? This is that one studio that we've all looked at and said, okay, well, we know the games they've made and either you love them or you're on the fence and you don't care for them, right? But this is a studio where you look around going, okay, it's your time to shine. What are you going to wow me with, right? And Parris, you brought up In Exile. I'm excited to see that rumored first-person shooter RPG. What does this mean, right? It's easy to put a bunch of words on the board, but it's harder to show it and have some fun with it. But yeah, go Parris.
Oh, I was just, unfortunately, I think I might have to burst your bubble because I actually take this back to KindaFunny Daily when you were on with Greg earlier this week. I don't think we're getting Wolfenstein 3. And as much as that hurts my soul to say it.
I've been wondering the same.
Look, Machine Games clearly isn't just one team. I'm sure they have multiple teams that are working on stuff. But if I had to guess, Indiana Jones is the priority. I think we see Indiana Jones before we see Wolfenstein, and we definitely won't see them on the same show. It's going to be one or the other, in my opinion. And I don't know. It's just my spidey sense is telling me. I mean, Indiana Jones.
You bring up Spidey sense, Parris, and before the last PlayStation event, right? I know it's a different company and stuff like that. We were guessing of like, oh yeah, we might see one thing from Insomniac, and we've got both Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine in one showcase.
You are correct.
Could Machine Games pull it out? Could they pull it out? I want to believe because we've been
waiting
for Wolfenstein 3 for so goddamn long.
I'm going to contradict everything I just said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
because of the point that you made up.
Maybe
they'll and I can't remember what year this was, the Bethesda showcase, but they teased Wolfenstein 2 like it was like an Easter egg in like some screen they were showing where if you looked at it, you go, oh, that's Wolfenstein. I think they did. Maybe they do that. Maybe they just do that. You get a little teaser, a little Easter egg in there for Wolfenstein. Like we haven't forgotten about it. It's coming back, but not right now. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. But
talking about the workhorse, right? Studios like that. You now have, of course, Obsidian, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, They have
Yes.
Grounded, right? We're still waiting on that 1.0 release. There's
Yep.
the rumor of could they do a Fallout New Vegas style game, right? Of like, is that partnership going to be in the works? But Benji, I'll turn to you.
Yeah.
What do you think when you see Obsidian just like working hard, creating all these titles? Are you excited for Avowed?
Oh yeah.
Do we see Outer Worlds 2? What do you think about this studio over there?
Yeah, I mean, Obsidian's incredible. And I really like the comparison, like you guys were mentioning, of Insomniac. I've seen some people almost make that comparison, that Obsidian, not necessarily in terms of gameplay, but in some ways they kind of feel like a Microsoft's version of Insomniac, because Insomniac's one of those studios that's always juggling multiple games at a time. And it seems Obsidian's all in on that as well. I loved The Outer Worlds 1. I thought it was a really great game, especially for a first stab at a new IP and one that didn't have like a gigantic budget. You know, if you remember, that was under the Private Division label, which is more like targeting, not necessarily like tiny indie games, but not the ones with the giant, huge budgets. It's more like that in between. So to see what they can potentially do with The Outer Worlds 2, which is going to have, the full weight of Microsoft and Xbox behind them, that's really exciting. Avowed sounds like it could be incredible, especially because we might be waiting for some time for Elder Scrolls 6. So to get some sort of fantasy RPG out there during that wait time that we have for Elder Scrolls, I think is really smart. So yeah, I think we'll see something from Obsidian here. I think that there's a good chance Avowed's here. Because I think The Outer Worlds 2 is probably still a little bit too far off for them to talk about. But I could definitely see Avowed potentially being at this show.
So
what
if I could jump in on that, because you bring up a good thing. You talk about Avowed and you talk about Fable. I just can't. I'm being negative, Nancy. I'm sorry, but
No, I think I'm going to agree with what you're about to say.
Yeah. I just can't see those two games coming out anywhere near close to each other, which then begs the question, which one's first? Like, I personally think Obsidian gets Avowed out in the next couple years. I think Fable's way further off on the horizon than we would imagine. And, the pandemic has something to do with that, with delays, but I wouldn't hold my breath for Fable.
Completely agree.
2026. And I know people are hearing this going, what? But I'm telling you, I see that way further off on the horizon. I could see Avowed coming, to be honest with you, as early as late next year, probably 2024. But then I think you're not going to then immediately jump right into Fable after that. I think Fable's at least a couple years behind Avowed, if I had to guess. But I do like your comparison with Obsidian being like Insomniac is with PlayStation, because I think of all the acquisitions that Xbox made over the past few years, that's the one that excited me the most, because I think the one thing, this is kind of similar with Double Fine, where I think the one thing that has always held Obsidian back is having to worry about moving to the next project. Okay, who's going to be our publisher, whatever. And they've made these amazing games, but they've come out a little buggy here or there. But the potential, the talent at that studio has always been apparent, for well over a decade. Because it's like, even when the Outer Worlds came out, I was lucky enough to go to a preview event and talk to some of the devs at that time. And I even told them back then, this is, even before all this went down with Xbox, just how much I've loved their games over the years. So for them to now have the financial and QA backing of Microsoft behind them, I mean, Avowed is, like we talk about anticipated games, I mean, it's definitely up there for me, just thinking what you're unlocking the full, I'm saying potential again, but you're unlocking the full potential of what Obsidian can do with an original RPG. So it's very exciting. And then we talk about the Fallout New Vegas stuff. Again, I'm not expecting it anytime soon, but come on. That has to be a passion project to let Obsidian make a sequel to that, which in my personal opinion is the best Fallout game ever made.
Ooh, nice.
I like that. Benji, you talked about Halo and of course season 2. Let's talk about now, because right now, a week from now, will be Halo Season 2. We know what we're getting. We kind of know what Big Joe Staten and the team over at 343 have in line for the roadmap, right? But with that being so close to this, we'll just call it the E3 presentation for right now, right? Do you think I, as a Halo fan, will get Halo information at this June 12th briefing? Or do we already have the Halo information? We don't need to go back. Is Certain Affinity ready to rock and roll with this? Or is 343 hiding something in their pocket for June 12th?
I think there's a pretty good chance. I'm not going to say it's like a lock or like 100%. I think there's a pretty good chance you'll at least see something Halo related here, mostly because I think that Microsoft's aware about some of the feedback they've been getting in regards to content for Halo Infinite, in regards to things around that. And they just had a really good stream. I really liked the Season 2 stream that they did. The devs were very honest on it, which I really appreciated. I think the big question here is if Certain Affinity is ready to show what they're working on. You know, we have all heard the rumors about what that potentially could be. Is it some sort of battle royale type mode? If that's ready to be shown, I think you'll get something. Otherwise, they may wait, because I think it's probably too early for like, you know, a single player expansion or something like that. That's probably going to be further off. So if I had to guess, if Certain Affinity's ready to show something, and it's, who knows, maybe it's targeting coming out at the end of this year. We don't know that, but maybe. If it's coming at the end of this year, I think they'll show it. If it's further off, then they might wait.
No, I'm excited, Parris, because we're talking BRs. What you got?
I just feel like I'm being so negative on this episode. I actually disagree. Do not show Halo at this showcase at all.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is it's a game that's already out. We obviously have seen all the news that has happened here in the first half of the year, you know, with the extended time, you know, for the seasons, all that stuff. I think they would be better off decoupling Halo from the showcase. And when they are ready to show off the co-op campaign, when they are ready to show Forge, when they are ready to show whatever certain Affinity is working on, make it its own thing, right? Really give it the time that because again, you only got 90 minutes here, right? So whatever they're showing is going to be quick. It's not going to be enough. So I would rather not take those precious minutes and seconds away from the showcase where you can show new things and new experiences that people have not seen yet. And we already know about Halo. Let Halo have its time. I mean, like I said, maybe more, you know what, Gamescom. There you go. Do it at Gamescom. Don't do it here. Do it at Gamescom or its own thing later in the summer where it can have more time to breathe and 343 can really talk through, here's what the network co-op campaign looks like. Here's these new modes that we're working on, you know, where you can really start talking to the community. Really, because I'm telling you, Forge needs a lot of time for them to really explain it and showcase it and demo it so people understand what they're getting into. Because, you know, we talked about it on the show many times. To me, that's kind of the missing piece right now with people being upset with the lack of content. If we had Forge, then you tell the community, go create your own new experiences. Here you go. We're giving you the tools. We're letting you go in the sandbox to play, and you show us what you can do. Because I guarantee you, when Forge does come out, we're going to see some stuff that we never thought. Like, wait, you could do that? I didn't think you could do that. Wow, you know, that's going to happen. So, yeah, long-winded to say, don't put it in the showcase. Do it later in the year so that it can be the 100% focus of the community's attention when they do show whatever they're going to show.
Now, guys, you know I'm a big battle royale guy. And so my dream is I close my eyes, and all of a sudden you hear the crashing of ODST drop pods and just a foot out, and maybe the Certain Affinity banner, like you said, Parris. I don't think we need to show anything Halo here. We already know the situation that we're currently in with 343 and Halo Infinite. We don't need anything, but if we are going to tease it, I hope it is that. I'm already living 6 months, 9 months down the road where I'm looking at it going, man, if Certain Affinity's thing is truly a battle royale, Warzone 2 is right around the corner. Yeah. What does that release window look like? Are we butting up against these guys? Are we battling them? Do we need 3 months away from them? Do we need to be before them? Because we know the juggernaut is going to return with Call of Duty and especially Warzone 2. What could that be like? So I am thinking ahead of like, where does this window look like? Because I am excited to see two of my favorite game franchises coming out with possibly some great battle royales, but it will be really interesting to see who takes up the market share and how do you avoid them. And Benji will tell you with the sales, right? Like you got to have some sort of window away from each other or else you're going to become Titanfall 2. And I know Parris, it kills Parris to hear that. He don't like that, you know? Another one I want to talk to you guys quickly about is Parris, for the youngsters out there, right? We hear these rumored tales of Todd Howard coming out on stage and giving us deep dives of Fallout and Elder Scrolls. What if the youngsters like me, we don't know about these deep dives? What does this deep dive consist of? And how in a conference like this, do you make it work, Parris? Or does he get his own time, similar to what we're seeing with the Bethesda rollout of Starfield content with these small Constellation episodes? How does this deep dive look like? And is it fabled to be that awesome?
You know, I'm conflicted on this one on how I think they should handle this, because obviously, again, traditionally, Todd Howard comes out for an extended period of time, you know, towards the end of the showcase to show off whatever big game he's working on, right? And
yeah, really quick for context, right? For Fallout 4, which is what we're showing in B-roll, this is 34 minutes.
Yes.
In and of itself.
Wow.
Yes.
Fallout
That's
for
awesome.
the Bethesda showcase 2015. Later in the year, the game would be coming out.
They're not going to do that this time. I cannot envision them giving Todd Howard 30 minutes, maybe 15.
Yeah,
maybe there's a 15-minute
thing.
Here's what I think. I think you have Todd Howard come out. He does a mini reveal, 10 to 15 minutes, gameplay of Starfield. He talks us through it. You know, remember we had Pete Hines on last year. He kind of talked about some of the stuff too. But he talks through the game, what we're seeing. So we finally get to see it. We see what it looks like. He takes us to different locales, the whole thing. And then they go, and for an extended look, check us later. Like they have something else down the road where you can have that 30-minute look at Starfield, because now the floodgates are open from the showcase, right? And then you give Todd Howard more time outside of the showcase to really show off Starfield. And maybe it's pre-recorded, whatever, it's a YouTube video, whatever the case may be, but then you give the people the extended look, because I do love his approach to his games where they don't show you anything until the very end, right before it comes out. And then that's when they give you the info dump. So it's more of a true representation of what the game is going to be versus some other games that I may or may not have been excited about over the years that shows it way too early and then it winds up being something else, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I mean, you got me excited, right? Bear just brings up that was 34 minutes. And Parris, I'll give you the counterpoint, right? Or you can tell me, when we look at it, right, I tell you Starfield and Redfall, right, are the only two games on the board, as we know. And then there's a bunch of other games. Xbox fans have been a little uptight about announcing things too early, being shown CGI trailer after CGI trailer. Is it completely off the table for the idea of Todd Howard to get 34 minutes of Starfield? Or would that break up the flow? You know what I mean?
I think so, because, and it goes back to what I was saying at the top. If you give Todd Howard 30 minutes, then what? I mean, either you're just sizzle reel for everything else, or you're only going to focus on just a handful of games at the showcase. Obviously, Redfall needs some time here because, last we knew it was coming out this summer. Maybe it got delayed a little bit, but this summer, maybe into the fall, Redfall is coming out. So that needs some time to show. If Forza Motorsport is coming out this year, that's going to need some time. I mean, 90 minutes will go just like that. By the time you go through it'll be gone. And if you're literally giving Todd Howard a third of the time. I mean, no. There's no way. There's no way they're going to do that for Starfield. I can't see it. I can see finally seeing the gameplay. It gets more time than the rest of the games. But if Todd wants to do the true deep dive into it, to me, it makes sense to splinter it off into its own thing down the road. I mean, we're in a digital age now where it doesn't have to be live on a stage to do it. He can go, hey, I'm Todd Howard. He does a voiceover and they go through and play the game. Picking up from where we were at the Xbox showcase, here's an extended look at Starfield and all the music, and you go from there. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
that's just me. What do I know? I don't know anything.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I could see 10 to 15 minutes. I think we will see more of Starfield than any other game this show. Like, I think it will get the longest period of time. But right as what you were saying, 30 minutes and an hour and a half showcase with how much they have to show, I just don't think that would work, because that basically leaves you, let's say it's 90 minutes, you have 1 hour left to show everything else. I just don't think you could make that happen. So, yeah, I think we'll see more Starfield than anything, but I can't see him going over 15 minutes.
Benji, I want to ask you, we talk about the second game, Redfall. I want to gauge your excitement for Redfall, and then let's break down what we could see at Redfall, because in my mind right now, Benji, right, like Parris just said, it was slated for summer 2022. Summer is almost in full effect. It will definitely be in summer full effect by June 12th here. Is this hey, the game's out now, or will they crush us with this is delayed to October, whatever? Like, what are your feelings on Redfall right now?
So, on a personal level, just in terms of like excitement or not, I would say that this isn't one of the games on the Xbox lineup that I'm most anticipating, right? It's not something that I don't care about, but it's also not something that's going to be up there with like the Fables for me or games like that. But it is an important game for Xbox potentially this year because we've seen that these co op focused games do huge numbers on Game Pass. Whether that was Back for Blood, which did, giant numbers, whether that was Outriders during its launch month, that did huge numbers on Game Pass, or even Rainbow Six Extraction, that game hit over 3 million players in a week, and definitely a lot of that came from Game Pass for sure. And Redfall, as we know, it sounds like one of those kinds of games you probably can play it single player, but the co-op is kind of the main draw of it. So it's a potentially really important game for Microsoft because these co-op games do great on Game Pass. I'm not, like I said, I'm not like massively hyped for it. I think it's still going to be this year. It maybe got a slight delay. I could see this maybe coming out like September or so. If it got pushed later than that, I think that could potentially become a problem if it comes into like October and November because we know how stacked that those, months are going to end up being. But if they could get this out by September at the latest, I think that'd be a great slot for it.
Okay. Well, guys, we have so much to talk about this. And June is far away, but it will be here soon enough. And here at KindaFunny, we'll have all the fun predictions and guessing episodes, and we'll keep track of who thought the best. But I do want to end it with this one. Parris, Lily, and Benji, will we see any hardware? Maybe the dreamt up Gary Whitta streaming stick, an Elite Series 3 controller. Do you think hardware's in the cards, or where we're at right now, we will just see games? Parris, Lily, you can start.
That's a tough one. I think at the showcase, no.
Okay.
If they wind up doing something else, maybe that's the place. I mean, I think I go back and think last year, obviously, I did Extended, and that's where they did Design Lab. That makes more sense there than it does on the main show, because you want the main show focused on all the games that are coming out. I would imagine if there's any big hardware, unless there's like a new Xbox is coming out, then maybe they would do that. But if it's like controller stuff or maybe even things with xCloud, maybe you do that at a secondary show.
But I do think, like, I understand, like, the level of, like, the Design Labs being at an extended showcase for, like, the really, like, hardcore Xbox fans that are, like, coming in and, like, want to make their Xbox controller their own. When it comes to, like, the streaming stick, the long dreamt of streaming stick from Gary Whitta, right? Like, if they had something of that level, I think they would do it at their big showcase, because that feels like remember when, like, Phil Spencer came out and, like, really, like, dropped the bomb of, like, backwards compatibility, and that was like an E3 moment kind of thing. I think if they had something to that equivalent of, like, this is the future of your Xbox and it's this stick, right? If they had something to, like, that equivalent, I think they would show it for their showcase to really, like, have that be a bomb of, like, hey, this is where the future of Xbox and video games are going kind of moment. But that's
I'm going to disagree. I'm
Oh,
going to disagree.
all right.
I'm just completely not agreeing with anyone negative today. I don't care. Score
I don't know if they'll actually do it this year, but if they had a device like that ready, I think they would do it the showcase. But
But I'll go back to what I was saying again. 90 minutes. It's a game showcase. I don't think they want to muddy the waters too much talking about services. I think the only service that they're going to hype and not even really go into major detail would probably be Game Pass, right? I mean, I don't think they want to steer it too much into the cloud stuff. I think you'll just see, it'll be on Xbox, PC, cloud, Game Pass. Like they'll do stuff like that. And what do I know? I don't know anything. This is just me wanting to disagree with you, I guess. But
he's hot right now.
Be completely wrong. Yeah.
Benji, let's stick really quick before we go on this one.
Yep.
Partnerships, Game Pass. We see a small partnership brewing right now with Ubisoft, bringing on 2 titles in the next 2 months. Do we see this explode come June with more titles being added to the catalog?
I think you're definitely going to see some really big announcements of third-party games coming day one to the service. I don't know if we'll see, like a big multi-game long-term partnership like what the Ubisoft is or what EA Access, right? Is that what it is? Or is it EA Play? I always forget.
Yeah.
EA Play. I don't know if we'll get an announcement of that level,
Okay.
where it's like, hey, here's like 5 or 6 upcoming games from this publisher. So, but I definitely think you are going to get some really big day one announcements from third parties, particularly games that involve some sort of co-op or online component. It's just tailor-made. Those games do great on the service. Single player games do as well, but we know that those co-op and online games, if you look at the most played list, it's a lot of those types of games. So you're going to get some big stuff. I don't know if we get a major long-term partnership, but I'm expecting some big third-party games. Yeah.
Okay, rad. Well, we're going to end this segment of getting hyped for the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase on June 12th with a tweet from, of course, Phil Spencer, the man, the myth, the legend. He wrote this: getting ready for events, spending time with studios, reviewing demos, announces, and scripts is one of the most fun parts of this job. I feel like a fan who has snuck behind stage watching the show get created. I can't wait for 612 to show the amazing work of so many amazing, talented teams. So get ready for the excitement. And talking about excitement, we have more excitement to share right after a word from our sponsors.
When I needed a printer, I turned to Twitter, and so many of you told me Brother was the way to go. For more than a year now, Jen and I have been using our Brother printer for immigration paperwork, baby paperwork, and a million other things. It's been great, but you know what printers need? Ink. And while it used to be a hassle to get ink, Brother's Refresh Easy print subscription has made it easy. The Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service is a printing plan that is based on the number of pages you print. You choose a monthly plan based on your print volume needs, color, black and white, and all print for one monthly cost. And instead of having to remember to buy replacement ink cartridges, your printer does the work for you through an intelligent ink and toner level monitoring feature that tracks the remaining amount of ink or toner and orders it before you run out. The Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service is a convenient, worry-free way to print. Each plan is flexible, and you can change or cancel your subscription at any time. So what are you waiting for? Stop running out of ink when you need it most and put your printer to work with the Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service by signing up at brother-usa.com/printwithrefresh. Again, that's brother-usa.com print with refresh to sign up for the Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service and stop worrying about your ink levels. All right, guys, let's chat skincare. If your skincare routine is basically you washing your face in the shower with that one shower gel that you've been using since high school, then it's time to level up your skincare game. Because as it turns out, that regular body wash you've been using that you thought was good enough is probably damaging your skin. But thanks to Lumen, you can drop that bottle of 3-in-1 and start using products that actually take care of your skin. With Lumen, you get the highest quality products. All their products aim to help with those stubborn acne scars, under eye circles, wrinkles, sun damage, dry skin, oily skin, you name it, it's all there. Starting with Lumen is easy. All you have to do is take a 2-minute quiz on their website and they'll tell you exactly which routine is best for your skincare needs. Gia's been using the charcoal face wash and charcoal face scrub and she feels so fresh afterward. She has dry skin, so especially during the winter, it's nice to have that hydration and exfoliation. Also, she's a big fan of the really subtle citrus smell. Level up your skincare game with Lumen Skin today. Go to lumenskin.com/kindafunny to get your free trial of Lumen's products. That's LUMIN skin.com/kindafunny for a free trial. lumenskin.com/kindafunny. Hey computer people, announced at CES and available now, the latest generation of Razer blades feature all new NVIDIA GeForce RTX 30 series GPUs and up to an RTX 3080 Ti featuring a suite of cutting-edge features to improve gameplay, including NVIDIA Reflex. NVIDIA Reflex delivers the ultimate competitive advantage, the lowest latency, the best responsiveness. Get the competitive edge you need at sub 25 milliseconds. And I asked the one, the only, the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez, is that good? And he said, ooh-wee, sub 25 milliseconds is great. And I said, that's fantastic. Acquire targets faster, react quicker, and increase aim precision in the most competitive games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty, and more. Learn more about the Razer blades powered by NVIDIA GPUs with NVIDIA Reflex technology at Razer.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Talking about excitement, let's keep the excitement and hype going. Parris, Lily, you have a device in your household, in your hands, that you have been waiting for, you are excited for, and you finally get to share your impressions and some Xbox love with the Xcast here. So let's talk about that Steam Deck right now and some of your, let's give the first impressions so far.
So, yeah, and obviously I know a lot of people listen to this, so it's pointless to, show this on video, but yes, I have the Steam Deck. I have the 64 gigabyte model, and I put a 1 terabyte SD card
Oh,
in
no
it.
way.
Because
Ooh.
just doing my research and everything, actually games load just as fast on the SD card as they do from the internal SSD. So I didn't necessarily need the bigger hard drive on there. Just an FYI for people as you're pre-ordering this and as you're waiting. But I'm very impressed with this hardware. I had even tweeted it at one point that, you know, it looks big. When you hold it, it just feels right. The stick placement of the joysticks makes a lot of sense. The button placements make a lot of sense when you're holding it. This is easily the best joysticks on a portable device I've ever used. Ever.
Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, it feels like it rivals holding an Xbox controller. It really does when you're playing, as far as the precision of being able to control, you know, whatever game that you're playing. In my excitement, the first game that I wound up trying was Prey from Bethesda, because it was in my Steam library. So that just made it easy. So I loaded that up, played Prey. I've been playing Portal 2. I've been playing God of War on there. And shout out to Greg Miller. I've been playing Rogue Legacy 2. We actually just got that yesterday, and I've been playing that. And the majority of what I've been playing since yesterday is Rogue Legacy 2. And that just goes back to what I was saying, being kind of, being that roguelite platformy type of game, the precision controls and everything, it just worked great. It just works fine. I don't even think about it at this point. I'm just playing the game and having a great time with it. But the other part, with this being an Xbox show, I've been playing Xbox cloud gaming on here as well. There's a tutorial that you can get online that shows you how to set it up. Takes about 5-10 minutes of work, depending on if you have an external keyboard or you're trying to manually type it on the Steam Deck, because there are a few different lines of command lines that you'll have to put in to get it working. And then you're basically able to add it as a quote unquote non-Steam game into your Steam library. And then you're able to launch it from Steam. And it brings up, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, it brings up all the Game Pass games via cloud. And I'll say this too, and I don't say this lightly, it is the best cloud streaming experience that I've had so far.
Ooh.
Like I am pleasantly shocked at how low the latency has been. I mean, it feels like it's damn near 1-to-1.
Wow.
I played Bug Snacks, was like one of the first games that I tried on there. If I didn't tell someone I was cloud streaming, you'd never know. That's how good it was to play it. Played a little bit of Death's Door, played Wolfenstein, played Halo, things like that over cloud. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, I'm not, a little hiccup here and there, obviously, but 90% of the time, just having a good gaming experience on there. So I'm very impressed with it. And shout out to Catherine and her team over at the cloud team at Xbox that put this together, because they've done a phenomenal job with this. I mean, I highly recommend anyone that has a Steam Deck, definitely add that to your arsenal, because it just unlocks even more games that you're going to be able to play. Even the native Xbox games on Steam, because like I have Forza Horizon 4 on there, worked fine. No issues natively on there as well. But this thing, and I tweeted this out, and I jokingly said, the PlayStation Vita crawled so the Nintendo Switch could walk, but it's the Steam Deck that is showing me the potential of the future of where portable gaming is going to go, because it provides so much. Because this is a PC for all intents and purposes. Let's be real. You could do whatever you want. You could put Windows on this thing. You could put emulator, whatever you want to put on here, you can do. It's showing me the potential as future revisions of the hardware come out from Valve or other third parties, as these portable devices get more powerful, as the battery life on them extends, and you have all these, the flexibility of it being a portable or using it in a desktop mode and making it a PC, playing wherever you want, however you want. That's the future, man. It is. And again, this is the 1.0 product of that. No, this is not. This is still a tinkerer's dream, because you can tinker with this thing and play around with it and do all this fun stuff. Not everyone wants to do that. Most people just want to hit the power button and play, which this can do if you play Steam games. But it's showing the potential of where it's going. I mean, like I said, the cloud streaming capabilities of this, the local play capabilities of this, and Steam isn't the only store that you can have on here. Again, you can do whatever you want. I can put GOG on here. I can put the Epic Store on here. I can do what I want. again, I can put Windows and
Just
load up the
don't you
Xbox
dare
app
play
if I want.
Destiny on it, Paris. Don't you dare.
No. Can't do that because of
Yeah,
the
you're not allowed
anti-cheat.
to.
You can't play Halo Infinite either, by the way. Just so
Wow.
you know, for the
Yeah,
same
I'm
reason.
approved,
There's
yeah.
anti-cheat stuff. But I'm super excited about this, and I've only had it, a few days, and I already see the hype behind this. I see why Valve made this. Like, it's just like I don't know. People watch on the camera, you can probably see the excitement in my face, but it's like I'm a big nerd. So as a nerd, this is a dream for me that I literally can take. I mean, we're talking console, PC, AAA level games wherever I want to go and play them at high quality and high precision. It's amazing. It absolutely is
it's
amazing. And the fact that I can customize this thing and tinker with it and do whatever I want with it. I could take SteamOS completely off of here and load up Arch Linux if I want. I can do whatever I want. That's the beauty of this thing. And that's the potential of where I like to call it hybrid gaming, where hybrid gaming is going. I mean, the Switch obviously showed us first how you can do it, where it can be a portable, you can put it in basically TV mode and play it on your TV. You can do this with this right now. But as we continue to move forward, and as, like I said, you're going to see Valve learn from this, and they're constantly updating this thing. They just put in the beta channel, I can limit this to 40 frames per second. And the importance of that is it saves on battery life, but you still get that smooth experience that you would get at 60 frames. So I playing it at 40. Like, if anyone that plays on PlayStation, Insomniac does that with Ratchet, and they just did it with Spider-Man, things like that. That's the potential of this and where it's going. So yeah, this is a 1.0 product. I get that not everyone's like me. Obviously, I was talking about this for weeks until I finally got it. Not everyone has it yet, but I think once you get it in your hands and you experience it for yourself, you'll see what I mean. That this may not be the one, but this will spark the potential of the one that's going to really unlock where just this portable hybrid gaming customization flexibility in gaming is going to go. I mean, it's exciting. Like, we'll have this conversation 3 years from now, and there's going to be some version of the Steam Deck that is just going to absolutely blow our minds, where you're playing all your Xbox games on it, your PlayStation games, whatever, on this thing at high quality, high frames, and it's just going to freaking work. That's where we're going, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Hearing your excitement, I'm sure gets me, Benji, and everyone watching listening excited. Benji, I'm gonna need your help. All right, we're gonna ask Parris a couple of questions. Whatever you want to know about this product, let's make sure to ask it, just like one of our live viewers did. Remember, you can watch the show live on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. You can support us over at any of the tiers over there. And then at a certain tier, you can watch it live, just like BJ Bernardo did. And he writes, yo, Parris Lilly, does the screen feel too small on the Steam Deck? And how is the battery life?
Absolutely not. And it's funny. I switch, and it's like, after playing on the Steam Deck compared to the Switch, I feel like the Switch's screen is too small, where I never thought that before.
Okay.
But to the battery life question, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And that's why the 40 frames per second limiter, comes in handy. I've noticed maybe 2.5 hours, maybe 3, depending on the game. Again, I'm talking like I'm playing like Prey or something like that, a very, graphic intensive game, or God of War or something like that. Like when I've been playing Rogue Legacy, it was fine because it's less intensive, right? But that's why I was talking about limiting the 40 frames, because that's going to kind of extend your battery life at the same time, and you're virtually getting the same experience. You're really not going to notice that much that you're not playing at 60 frames. And again, when you're playing some of the bigger games anyways, they're not going to go to 60, regardless, because because this thing can only do so much in a portable in its current state. But I mean, like I said, overall, I've been impressed with it. I like I said, the battery life is going to be the limiter to truly get mass adoption for it. And as battery tech improves, and as CPU, all that stuff improves, like I said, there's going to be a revision of this thing a few years from now, where now you're getting 5-6 hours of battery life. And then I think that's when you're really going to see people start to jump on board with this thing.
Benji, any questions about the Steam Deck you'd like to answer?
Yeah, so you touched on this a little bit before. For someone like me that's mostly a console gamer, does this feel fairly pick up and play for a lot of stuff? Is it fairly easy to just pick it up, jump into a game, and not have to mess with a ton of stuff? Or does it feel a little more intensive where you really got to mess with a lot of stuff? And
Yes and no. And
Mhm.
I know that it's not a fair answer, but yes, in this sense, when I just was in my native Steam library and I just played Portal 2, it's pick up and play. I never went into settings once. I didn't do anything. I just played. But when I first did this with Prey, believe it or not,
Mhm.
the control layout that I had, it had the back buttons enabled and it had the gyro enabled and it was
Oh
weird.
wow.
I'm like, whoa, wait, this is crazy. So I had to go in there and change some of that stuff. So there is some tinkering even in the native Steam where you might want to pick a specific controller layout that you
Mhm.
want to use because again, you have basically a mouse pad on this thing as well. You can pull up a virtual keyboard. You got the back buttons on here. You got your triggers. You got your shoulder buttons. So it's very customizable in that way. But like you're saying, you want that pick up and play experience at the same
Mhm.
time. Like as an example, in cloud streaming, it tells you in the instructions to pick the controller and mouse keypad combo. So then when I go in and play, it just plays like an Xbox controller that way for whatever reason. Like I
Okay.
said, most games that I've played so far, God of War was a pick up and play experience. I didn't change anything on
Mhm.
that, but I can see there's going to be some outliers in there, and especially if you start customizing it and use like the Epic Store or other
Mhm.
stores, or you start emulating, you're probably going to have to go in there and tinker. So I think in that way, there's the best of both worlds. If you want to be a tinkerer, you can do it.
Mhm.
But if you want to just have that pick up and play experience, it seems like, because I've only had a few days, the majority of the games will allow you to do that, that are quote
Cool.
unquote Steam Deck ready. Because again, when I picked up with Rogue Legacy 2, just picked it up and played it. No problem. Matter of fact, it even popped a little message up to let me know whatever it said with that it was Steam ready compatible, Greg Miller. But it just worked and I just played it just fine. So like I said, for
Cool.
the most part, it is. And again, Valve is constantly updating this thing too,
Mhm.
which I think is exciting. They're obviously supporting it and listening to feedback from the community, and trying to get those wish list items so that it can be a pick up and play experience.
Cool.
All right. Well, guys, let's keep it going. Let's share some fun with Xbox. Benji, this is where I need your help. We're really
Mhm.
happy to have you this week because we're going to talk
Perfect.
sales numbers. We're going to talk numbers.
Yeah.
Because right now it seems like Xbox revenue is up, market share is being taken over, and we need to talk about it because over from gamesindustry.biz by James Batchelor, I'm going to read right off the article, and Benji's going to help me because he knows all about this. Microsoft has released the results for the third quarter of its fiscal year, showing a strong performance for the company's Xbox business. For the 3 months ended March 31st, 2022, gaming revenues were up 6% year on year. Microsoft added that this is improving on an already solid comparable quarter in 2021, a year
Mhm.
that benefited from recent launch of Xbox Series X and S and some continued stay-at-home measures. Uh, Nyco Partners analyst Daniel Ahmad broke this down further, revealing revenues reached 3.74 billion and declaring this the quote best non-holiday quarter end quote in Xbox history. Ahmad reports that Xbox content and services, which encompasses game sales, digital transactions, subscriptions such as Xbox Game Pass, third-party game royalties, Xbox-related cloud services, and advertising, accounts for 81% of gaming revenues or around $3.02 billion. There's a lot more, but Benji, let's jump into that right there. You are passionate about sales. You have a great background in sales. You break down the numbers on Twitter. We're happy to have you. What am I deciphering off of this? What are we hearing here?
I think the most important number here out of this entire thing, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff to point out. That, I mean, no doubt, having your best ever non-holiday quarter, that's incredible, right? That's just a stat that sticks out to you that's amazing. But one that's really worth pointing out here is hardware. Hardware is so strong in this quarter. So to put it into perspective, it was up 14%, and that might not sound like a giant number, right? You're like 14% growth, that's nice, but it's not like 50% or 70%. But it's really important to remember that, like Microsoft noted in their earnings, and like that article did, this is in comparison to what was already an excellent quarter last year. So to have that kind of growth, it's not like so last year during this time period they had massive hardware growth. But that was a lot easier to have because it was being compared to the Xbox One, right? And that was the end of that generation. So clearly Xbox One hardware sales had declined a lot. So a new console on the market is going to have huge growth over that. But to have 14% additional growth over what you had before, that's an excellent result. They have to be very, very happy with hardware. They noted on the earnings call that this was ahead of what they expected. They didn't expect to have as much growth in hardware as they did. And that's really important in a current climate where there's global chip shortages on everything, right? It's like you can't even get cars or anything right now. So for hardware to not only grow, but to be growing during a chip shortage, I'm sure that Microsoft is pretty ecstatic about that. The other things are nice too. The overall growth, the content and services growth, really nice. But that was the particular data point that really stuck out to me, was how good hardware was.
Thank you, Benji, for breaking that down. We also have some more positive coming out right now. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella also joined and discussed more of Xbox's accomplishments, starting with the claim that the platform holder has, quote, taken share globally for 2 quarters in a row, end quote. He added that the Xbox Series X and S was the market-leading next-gen console during this quarter in the US, Canada, UK, and Western Europe. Earlier this week, the MPD Group revealed Xbox enjoyed its biggest March ever in terms of US sales, and the Xbox Series X and S generated the most dollar sales for the past quarter. Nadella also discussed the growth of Xbox Cloud Gaming, with more than 10 million people having streamed games to date. Xbox Cloud Gaming is only available to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, indicating that at least 40% of the 25 million Game Pass subscribers, as revealed earlier this year, are signed up to the higher tier. Benji, I'll kick it back to you because you're our guy right now. I mean, taking a global share for 2 quarters, what does that mean? Are they dominating? What's up with that?
It just means that gap with them and PlayStation 5 has gone down the last 2 quarters in a row. That's really the main thing to note here. It's not necessarily saying that they're, gigantically outselling everyone and it's just, leaving everyone in the dust. But the important thing for them, especially early on in a generation, is you don't want to give up a massive amount of market share really, really early, because that's just giving people more time to tell their friends, hey, I've got a PlayStation, or I've got, whatever, you should get one too. You want to remain as competitive as you can early on in the gen, because it's much harder to make that ground up later. So the important thing, basically the last 2 quarters in a row, the gap between them and the PlayStation 5 has not grown. It's actually gone down the last 2 quarters. So good result for them. They want to close that gap as much as they can. They're making up a lot of ground in the US in particular. They are doing nice, I'm sure, as you're probably going to note here, in other markets like Western Europe and Canada. But US, they are doing stellar. They are doing very, very well. Ever since really November, December, and into this year, they have had some really strong hardware sales in the US, and that's helping to close that gap.
Well, let's pause really quick, Benji, because you brought up the other markets, right? You talk about the strength here in the US. Paint a picture for me. Talk about those other markets and how is Xbox gaining that foothold and gaining ground?
Yeah. So one thing that's really hurting Sony right now are these shortages. It's affecting everyone, as we know, but you can see how bad it's hurting them because of Western Europe. The fact that Microsoft was able to be the market leader for next-gen consoles in Western Europe, that is a very impressive thing, because PlayStation is usually dominant in Europe. Like, that is their stronghold out of any of the markets, right? Even including Japan, because that's really swung over to Nintendo now. So Europe has been where they are their absolute strongest. So for Microsoft to take a quarter off of them in Western Europe, that's great for Microsoft. It shows that the console's doing well there, but it also does paint a picture about how brutally these shortages are affecting PlayStation and Sony.
Wow. Parris, I want to get you involved because there's something that perked up my ears and said, oh, Parris is going to smile about this. And that is Nadella's conversation about Xbox Cloud Gaming. 10 million people have streamed games. 40 of the 25 million Game Pass subscribers. That means they're Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Is that a positive news about that? Did you expect 40% to kind of be the marker? I'm sure there's maybe more or less. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely positive news, because what that shows is their strategy is working by tying their cloud initiative into Game Pass. I've always thought that is what made the most sense compared to what some of their other competitors are doing in this space, where you're opening up this service that you obviously can take advantage of on the console, you can take advantage on the PC, and they're saying the cloud is just another one of our platforms that you can go play. It's not the only way you can play. It's a choice. You can go try it out. Just like I talked about playing it on the Steam Deck. Obviously, that's not going to be the primary way that I play my Xbox games, but it's there in a pinch. And that's the point. That's what cloud gaming is right now in its current iteration. That's why, Barrett, you talk about this little streaming dongle and all that coming out. It'll be another avenue for that to happen. And you know what? Gonna contradict myself again. If they announce this Game Pass family plan, it makes a lot of sense to announce a cloud streaming dongle right along with it. Because now you're saying, hey, mom and dad want to play a game. Everyone's using the Xbox. Here, go play it on the other TV with this dongle. There you go. Right? I think that's what the family plan opens up. It's another avenue to be able to play, and you supplement that with cloud gaming. So to hear that number, about 40%, makes a lot of sense. And, good for them. Good for them. It shows the strategy is working.
Benji, before the stream, before we did this podcast, we were talking about Xbox and how you're really interested and impressed by what this team is doing and where their trajectory lies. We talk about these numbers and we talk about cloud gaming. What do you think? Is this the moment where they gain back a lot of ground and take a strong foothold? Is this just positive news? Where are you feeling right now as we stand here in 2022?
I'm really confident about the direction of Microsoft right now. I've been saying that even before this generation started, whenever they started laying out their plans. And really, even towards the tail end of last gen, we know that the beginning of the Xbox One generation was so rough, but I think they really started turning things around there towards the end. And they are planning things out just very, very, very brilliantly. They're very forward thinking in that they're doing things like subscription services. They're doing things like xCloud. They're doing things like Games Day One on PC. Microsoft right now is just all about making that ecosystem as big as possible, which is smart, right? Whenever you tie yourself only to a console, strictly to a console, that is going to limit your long-term growth potential. You can do amazing. That doesn't mean you can't do amazing being console only, but there's so much more room for growth whenever you have that. Console gaming, very important, but also expand beyond that. And I think that it fits directly into really the vision of Microsoft as a corporation as a whole, right? You don't see Microsoft as a whole have that idea of we're going to tie ourselves down. They want all of their services and everything they do, Azure and all of that everywhere. So I see really strong synergy between Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella. One thing I can add as a bit of a side note that I'm really liking. I'm always on these Microsoft earnings calls, and I'm not joking. For years, I almost felt like I was wasting my time because there would be no gaming talk. I'd be there for gaming, but there would just be almost zero mention. One thing I think that's really important if you're an Xbox gamer, that's going to be good news for you. The last 2 quarters in particular, Satya has really gone out of his way to talk about gaming, and that shows you how important gaming is becoming to Microsoft as a whole.
Awesome. That's great. Guys, let's start to head towards the end of the show with a final couple of pieces, one that I'm very excited for, and I can't wait to share with all of you. We got a little tease. We got a brand new logo for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's not a lot, but guess what? It's just enough to bring back the nostalgia of 2009. And you love just seeing that bright green. It gets me excited. It gets me all the memories. And of course, if you keep up with Call of Duty, right here in the spring, heading into the NBA playoffs, right? We usually get some Call of Duty fun. And so we now have the Modern Warfare 2 logo, which got me excited to dig in and see what's going on over there. And I went over to GameSpot, and they've done a great job at just kind of getting some data going on and letting you know what you can learn from. So we know that Captain Price is in the building, and he's getting his squad back together. Task Force 141 is coming together. Tom Henderson claims it will release on both current and past gen consoles, but this could be the final year for Call of Duty to do that. So get ready for the big switch. here soon enough. Henderson also shares some story details like U.S. soldiers going to war against Colombian drug cartels, multiplayer mode that includes a DMZ, which is rumored to be an escape from Tarkov mode, and of course, old school maps that you all love like Favela, Terminal, High Rise, and more. And man, oh man, this gets me excited, guys. I love Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's definitely my favorite out of the whole mix of things, right? It goes Modern Warfare, then Black Ops for me. And, I love World at War. Don't get me wrong, but this is the one I'm excited for, especially the 2019 Modern Warfare reboot. I thought was really, really fun. I had so much fun with my friends replaying that and playing the multiplayer. I thought it was banging, which of course was the kickoff into Warzone, which I fell in love with. But Benji, I know you're smiling. You're a Call of Duty guy like myself. What does this give you seeing that bright green on the screen?
I'm stoked. I loved the 2019 reboot. I mean, I loved that game. I thought it had one of the best campaigns ever for Call of Duty. Multiplayer was also really strong. And I'm with you. I like Call of Duty more when it's modern than whenever they're going back to some of the older wars. Those can be cool as like a one-off every once in a while, but I really love that modern setting. I just feel like that's when it's at its absolute best. So I am stoked. Yeah, I am really stoked. And it's really what the franchise needed because Vanguard has really underperformed. I hate to say it. But in sales, it's just really underperformed for them. And I think a big part of that was going back to World War II yet again. I think that probably wasn't the right call. Hindsight's 2020. I'm sure at the time they weren't thinking that, but I think now looking back at it, going back to World War II again was a bit of a mistake. So I'm expecting this game to be gigantic this year.
Parris Lily, what's your thoughts on Modern Warfare? Call of Duty. What do you think about this? The juggernaut that is.
Yeah, and I think you just said it best, and I completely agree with Benji. It's juggernaut. This is the peak era of Call of Duty. This is where Call of Duty became the monster that it is because of the Modern Warfare era. I've personally not been. I'm with you. They did enough World War II. I don't need any more World War II. I've not even really been that big of a fan of the whole Black Ops era either. It's not my thing. I've been that Modern Warfare guy. That Infinity Ward Modern Warfare era is what really cemented me in the Call of Duty. So yeah, I do welcome this to come back in and now take a break. Now you take a break after this, and then you come back with something quote unquote next gen, new experience. Let's see what it is and go from there. So I do think this is a good place for them to give us a Call of Duty that hits that nostalgia of the Modern Warfare era. Take a break, then you come back. Let's see what we can do new with Call of Duty. And I guess knock on wood, we would imagine at that point Microsoft now controls the IP and let's see what they do with it. So yeah, I'm excited for this. Definitely looking forward to the full reveal.
Oh, it's going to be so exciting. Benji, do you anticipate sales being through the roof? Of course, with Warzone 2, what do you think the microtransactions and those revenue numbers will be like here heading into next year?
Oh man, this thing is going to be nothing else this year is going to touch this game in sales. As long as it's even good. It doesn't even need to be amazing. Obviously, if it's amazing, it will be a smash hit. But this tweet already in only a day has become the most liked Call of Duty tweet of all time. Literally no announcement tweet ever for any Call of Duty game has had more likes. So it shows you how anticipated it is. And to put it a bit more into perspective, the 2019 reboot, that was the fastest selling Call of Duty game ever. It sold over 30 million units in less than a year. In like 10 months, it sold 30 million copies. So this should be, as long as it's a good game, nothing in terms of just like raw sales, nothing's going to be able to touch this year. It should be huge if it's good.
Exciting. All right, guys. Well, let's end the show with some things that our viewers and watchers out there should know about. So KindaFunny best friends, let me give a rundown of the weekend. And for all you Halo fans like myself, Benji, and Parris out there, HCS is back. The Kansas City Major is going down right now as you're listening all the way through the weekend to May 1st. So please tune in. You got Twitch drops enabled. You got the best of the best all coming into Kansas City to put on a big show for the HCS. There's also a free-for-all tournament going on, so you get to see a different kind of side to HCS in the gameplay for Halo Esports, which will be a ton of fun. So tune into that. For Parris Lily and myself, you big basketball fans, the NBA playoffs are underway, and kind of a little stealth announcement, but NBA 2K22 is now available on Game Pass for both Xbox One and Series consoles. So yo, go enjoy the playoffs hype. Go play some NBA 2K, which is always some fun. We have our free play weekend days, and I always tell you about these, but this is the one weekend where I'm like, yo, get your friends together and go enjoy free play days this weekend because you have Moving Out, Ember, and Session Skateboarding, which I love each and every one of those games. So you'll have a ton of fun, whether it be on the couch with Moving Out, which is like an Overcooked style video game with your friends where you're moving stuff out of homes and apartments. And it's just zany, wacky chaos. Or if it's Ember, where you can play online with up to 4 friends and you are essentially the Uber of firefighters and you go to different homes, you save people, you put out fires. It's a blast. So please go check that out. I highly encourage all of these games. And we also have our May Games with Gold now announced. We have Yoku's Island Express, The Inner World, The Last Wind Monk, Hydro Thunder Hurricane, and Viva Pinata Party Animals. Parris, you didn't smile at all during these free games. Are we still
I was
mad
actually
about
going to
these?
say, I think maybe they listen to us and they're trying to up the value a little bit because this is a little better than it's been the past few months.
I like that. Benji, you know, you are our guest. We haven't got to talk much with you. Games with Gold, where do you fall on that?
It's been very clear that the investment has been going into Game Pass and not Games with Gold. That's how I put it.
Very well said there,
It's been very
Benji.
clear.
I will say
well-
Yoku's Island Express. I remember a lot of people loved that. When it
Yeah,
came
yeah,
out.
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Not bad.
Cool, okay,
Not
okay.
bad. Not bad.
Yep.
Good to know. I'm a big Hydro Thunder guy, so you can count me in for Hydro Thunder. That's an instant download. But guys, let's say goodbye. This has been a great Friday spent with awesome friends. Benji, we have to say thank you for joining myself, Parris, and Barrett. Gary Witta sends his regards as always. But thank you for being here. Thanks for bringing the expert analysis and having some fun, sharing some Xbox love with us. Benji, where can all of the Kind of Funny best friends go find you? What awesome stuff are you doing before you say goodbye?
Thanks so much for having me on. It truly was an honor. I'm a huge fan of you guys, huge fan of Kind of Funny in general. Been watching for years, so this really does mean a lot to me. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm Benji Sales on Twitter or on YouTube. Benji Sales on YouTube on both places. Twitter's definitely where I'm most active, but I stream on YouTube once a week. We do like a live chat where we basically just talk about the video game industry, sales, whatever you guys want to talk about. Do that once a week or Twitter, Benji Sales.
Love that. Parris Lilly, I don't really ask you this much because we usually just say goodbye, but what the heck are you doing this weekend?
What am I doing this weekend? Oh, well, I know what I'm literally doing after we're done with this. I'm watching my Tampa Bay Buccaneers make their first pick in the NFL draft. And yeah, I'm just going to be watching NBA basketball, I'm sure. Like I'm really excited for that Milwaukee Celtics series. That's going to be good.
I can't wait to see those youngsters take on the big guy.
And by the way, shout out to Chris Paul for all the old heads out there.
Wow.
What Chris Paul did last night was just absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. That dude is incredible to do what he did last night. Basically, if you don't know, he didn't miss a shot. Weren't no layups, weren't any dunks, none of that. This was all just getting buckets last night. Just incredible.
Well, with that, guys, go watch some sports, go have some fun, HCS, whatever you're doing, play some games, be good to one another, smile, and have some fun. On behalf of Parris Lilly, Barrett Courtney, Gary Witta, and our good friend Benji Sales this episode, see you, everybody.